Political parties have been tasked to prioritize social protection programs in their manifestos ahead of the December election to improve the livelihoods of the poor and the vulnerable in society. Send Ghana believes there could not be a better time to have a conversation on social protection than now, especially as the COVID-19 pandemic could potentially worsen the widening inequalities in the country. It said the 2020 election presents a greater opportunity for Ghanaians to put some of the many issues confronting the poor and vulnerable on the national agenda as political parties campaign for the people's mandate. Now, the statement focused on the results of a survey on Ghanaians' expectations of political parties' policy to address poverty and inequality. Tonight, I am joined in the studio by the country director for Send Ghana, George Osei Akoto Bimpe. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
First, give us a blow-by-blow account of how this survey was put together.
Okay, thank you very much. So, basically, we did consultation throughout the country. We started about 6 months ago. And in the consultation, we were quite clear in our minds who we wanted to get input from, and so we were targeted groups such as persons with disability, women, traditional authorities, youth groups, and so on and so forth. And basically, if I may step back a little bit, we have been concerned that politicians often set the tone and more or less are using the bottom-up approach, the top-down approach in terms of determining what the issues are. And so those things find themselves in their manifestos. And if you look at it carefully, you realize that manifesto becomes the blueprint of the political party. So we are saying that we rather will help the political parties to get a perspective of citizens so that in their own reflection, they would consider what the citizens expect. And that is why we had to go around the country. We did this in the 10 traditional regions. We didn't have to add the other
regions.
Yeah. So, but we drew participants from the other regions, and so across the length and breadth of this country, we have also met people in the academia who have done a lot of research on social protection.
So, what was the sample size?
Okay, so let me put it this way: it is more of a qualitative process of gathering information. So we didn't have to run no. We have to get to the people themselves, for the people to give testimonies about what is working well with regard to existing social protection programs and what they think that could be done. And that is what we do. So maybe it is quite worrying to say survey. Actually, it's a consultative process that we use in getting what we consider to be qualitative.
And you think that is reflective of what really the people want?
I think that the citizens know better exactly what they want. Their aspirations are informed by their own individual circumstances. So we can't question what they say. And if you look at it, it makes a lot of sense in terms of what they want. Maybe when we have the chance to go into the details.
Rightly so, because for the longest time, these issues have been relegated to the background.
Exactly.
But have you been able to make this report available to the parties?
Yes. Actually, we gave it to the parties about a month ago. We had wanted to do face-to-face, engagement with them, but we couldn't do it because of the current circumstances. We are not in good times. But we intend to even use virtual tools to further engage them to deepen this. And this is not the first one. We have already done one in the health sector, but this is for the purpose of social protection. So we wrote to all the major political parties, we gave them copies, and they are free to use it anyhow. What we will do, however, is that when their manifestos come out, we will be analyzing those manifestos and will be advising citizens in terms of who is responding to issues of social protection so that it will inform the citizens well. So we may come back to you to say that in our estimation, Party A or Party B has taken on board this input from the citizens. Okay. And that will be seen as being more responsive to citizens' demand.
Okay, so you're still watching news tonight, and this is our conversation tonight focusing on Manifesto. Of course, Send Ghana has done some consultation, and the conclusion is that a lot of Ghanaians want social protection issues prioritized. In a bit, we'll go to Ohima Lawe, who is standing by to give us what you have been saying on social media regarding exactly what you want to see in the political party's manifesto. But before I go to Ohima for what people have been saying, the social protection issues are many. We have a flood of them.
Yeah.
When you put all the issues together, which ones would you say are the topmost priority issues?
Okay. So, yes, you are right. We came out with a litany of interventions, some that are not even yet on the table.
Right.
But the ones that came out, one, the cash transfer program, what we call LEAP. The cash transfer program, what we call LEAP. We also have the issue of the National Health Insurance, it's being limited in coverage. That's also another issue. There's also the issue of school feeding. The current situation is that it is not covering all public schools. And so people are saying that in the name of equity, we should expand the program to cover all public schools. So if I take, for example, the issue of LEAP, the current situation is that we are targeting 1.650 out of a possible 2.4 extremely poor people. So all that we are saying is that there is a huge gap of 750,000 that we are not targeting who are qualified to benefit from LEAP.
But at this point where a lot of people are complaining about the stipends, should we be interested in increasing the number or improving how much people receive as stipends?
Yes, we should be more than concerned. We see, Redwan, we are talking about a segment of the population that probably they don't even talk about the stipend because they are not working. These are categorized as extremely poor people. 2.5 Ghanaians are categorized as extremely poor. If you are already extremely poor, it means you don't have any social systems, social safety net. So they could not even be talking about stipends. Or even if they talk about it, they are the ones who take 150 cedis a month, all sort of things. So this is very...
So you reckon a lot more people should be captured?
Exactly. And you see, it is at the back of COVID-19. It is estimated that we are going to go back. The world is going to go back 30 years in terms of the progress that we have made. So if we are not careful, Ghana too, we may go back, if you talk about 30 years ago, the poverty level, that's like 52% of Ghanaians that may be going there. So the earlier we think about how these people will not fall into that category, the better it will be for us.
George, I'll come back and pick your final thoughts shortly, but let's go to Ohima now. Ohima, good evening. I must say you're looking very elegant tonight.
Thank you very much, Red. How are you?
What's happening tonight?
So, once again, good evening and welcome to the social media segment on News Tonight. I am Edma Ohima Ndawe. So, on the program, we ask, as a Ghanaian, what do you expect to see in a political party manifestos ahead of the 2020 elections in December? Let's have a swell time, shall we? So, as usual, we are going to start with our Facebook comment. Yohani Songs commented saying, as a Ghanaian, I would love to see party manifestos abolished and have a national development plan. This is what the media is supposed to drive to the citizens and the politicians towards, okay? Daniel Ahoga also commented on our Facebook page saying, free education throughout and easy accessibility of jobs. Boating Yabwa Constantine Kwesi also commented saying the MPP 2016 sloganeering campaign has made it difficult for the citizens to believe in political parties. Suleimana Abubakari Nyayi also commented saying more investment into technical education and infrastructure. Moving on, Kwesi Ashiga. Kwesi Ga. Okay. Also have a lengthy comment here saying 1. Scrap NAPCO. 2. Telemedicine. 3. Constitution of the Eastern Corridor roads. 4. Completion of abundant roads and hospitals. 5. prosecution of corrupt officials. 6A, massive infrastructure to improve e-learning, especially in rural areas. 6B, massive infrastructure for education sector workers, for example, science labs and bungalows. And finally, 7, support for local businesses, example, financial, production, agric, manufacturing and service sectors. Okay, let's take one more for Facebook, and then we'll move on to Twitter. Hajia British Queen commented saying, job creation for unemployed, infrastructure making food items more affordable, supporting the aged and physically challenged, press freedom in this present government. Journalists are bullied and maltreated for saying their truth and giving their opinion. Okay, so let's move on to Twitter. Joe Tete tweeted saying, security, job creation, industrialization, healthcare. Enough of free this, free that. They must show us how to fish and we'll stop coming back asking for fish. Okay, let's take one more tweet. Ekuso tweeted saying, I really don't expect nothing because both NDC and MPP will either do just 30% of what we see in their manifestos. Both parties are our biggest problems as a country. So that will be all for our social media segment. My name is Edma Ohima-Alawe. Ridwan, back to you.
Thank you so much, Edma. Very interesting comment there. But George, what stood out for me are the people who clearly don't believe in manifestos, indicating that what we need is a development agenda. Because what happens is that when these lofty promises are put in the manifestos, they are used basically to win votes. But after the elections, very little is done to, get them implemented. You think that is a fair assertion?
Well, I mean, it's fair. I can't take them on, but I think we need to explain certain things. That the manifestos are supposed to be the roadmap to achieving the national agenda. So ordinarily, we should expect the politicians to anchor their manifestos on the national agenda. And so we should then be questioning them. So for example, if we all want to go to Kumasi, and you present your plan, and I present my plan, the citizens should be able to tell us which one of them will take us to Kumasi. And so they are right, but we will need the manifesto to convince ourselves that the one that is proposing to solve the problem can indeed solve the problem. The second point is that the manifesto becomes an accountability tool, to demand accountability from the political parties. We enter into social contract. And if you do not have any basis to say you said you will do A, B, C, D, you haven't done it, for which reason I am punishing you or otherwise, then we have that reference point. So I think we will need it. The only thing that we need to ensure is that it is doable, it is practicable, it is implementable, and it is anchored on a national vision. So we need a national development plan that all of us will buy into. But the politicians will have to tell us that they will do A, B, C, D together. And that must find itself in the manifesto. Okay,
in 30 seconds, I mean, the political parties usually come up with campaign teams, and these campaign teams will come up with the policies and all of that. What sort of consultation do you think should go into the putting together of these manifestos?
Well, I think that the political parties have their own ways of doing things. We as civil society organizations, we are only tapping into the existing opportunities. So they may have their own way. Some may be meeting people in the boardroom, secretly, whatever. But we would want citizens to know that, one, social protection is a matter of right.
Right.
It's a matter of right. So let us use a right-based approach. Whichever party that is able to demonstrate that they are going to first recognize social protection as a right, and that they are going to put in place mechanisms to ensure effective delivery of social protection programs, that is the one that the people should be voting for. And I think that we all have it as a responsibility to ensure that citizens are informed, so that they don't fall victim to those funny campaign promises that they give. If when they are giving it in the heat of campaign, they will say, but it is not in your manifesto. Right. So how are you going to deliver that? It is for the citizens to begin to actively do this. The kind of product we are getting from the politicians is because we are not pushing enough.
Okay, George, thank you so much.
Thank you.
George Akoto Osei Bimpe, I hope I have mentioned the order.
Well,
right.
you have made some, but that is fine.
Right.
It's
George Osei Akotobimpe is the country director for Send Ghana, and we have been discussing political parties' manifestos on your Election Hub EIB network.